Hello there, and welcome to the Dreamy Science Channel. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe the day has been long and full of noise, or perhaps you simply find comfort in the gentle rhythms of the natural world as you drift toward sleep. Either way, you've come to the right place. Tonight, we're wandering through the quiet wonders of nature, discovering facts that will soothe your mind and soften the edges of the day. There's nothing you need to do but listen. Let your breathing slow, your muscles relax, and your thoughts settle like leaves on still water. We'll explore the hidden lives of forests, the secret languages of animals, and the peaceful cycles that have shaped our world for millions of years. Some of these discoveries may surprise you in the gentlest way. Others will simply wash over you like a warm tide, carrying you deeper into rest. If these calm explorations bring you peace or spark quiet curiosity as you fall asleep, consider liking and subscribing. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, let yourself get comfortable, and let's begin this soft journey through nature's most relaxing secrets. Trees have been whispering to each other for millions of years. In the quiet depths of forests around the world, an ancient conversation continues beneath our feet. Trees don't speak with words, but through an underground network so intricate and vast, it rivals our own internet. Through hair-like fungal threads called mycorrhizae, trees share nutrients, water, and even warnings about approaching dangers. A mother tree can recognize her own seedlings and send them extra resources when they need help most. When a tree is attacked by insects, it releases chemical signals that neighboring trees can detect, allowing them to boost their own defenses before the threat arrives. This wood-wide web spans entire forests, connecting trees of different species in a gentle web of mutual support that has existed since long before humans walked the earth. The ocean breathes in a rhythm older than mountains. Twice each day, the sea inhales and exhales in the ancient dance we call tides. This breathing is driven not by lungs, but by the gentle pull of the moon as it circles our planet. The moon's gravity tugs at the water, creating bulges that sweep around the earth like slow cosmic sighs. This rhythm has persisted for billions of years, shaping coastlines, guiding migrations, and creating the intertidal zones where some of Earth's most resilient creatures make their homes. Even the smallest tide pools follow this celestial breathing, filling and emptying in perfect synchrony with forces beyond our atmosphere. The ocean's breath is so reliable that creatures have evolved their entire life cycles around it, spawning and feeding according to lunar schedules written in salt water and starlight. Some flowers bloom only in the darkness, opening their petals to the moon. While most plants reach toward the sun, a quiet minority has chosen a different path. Night-blooming flowers like the moonflower and evening primrose unfurl their petals only after sunset, releasing their sweetest fragrances into the cool night air. These nocturnal blooms have evolved to attract night-flying pollinators like moths and bats, creatures that navigate by starlight and echolocation rather than the bright colors that draw daytime visitors. The moonflower's white petals seem to glow in darkness, reflecting whatever light is available to guide moths to their nectar. Some night-blooming cereus flowers open just once a year for a single night, their brief beauty witnessed only by those patient enough to wait in the darkness. These flowers remind us that not all beauty needs sunlight to shine. Rivers carve their paths with the patience of centuries. Water is soft, yielding, and gentle to the touch. Yet given enough time, it can reshape entire continents. Rivers begin as tiny streams, gathering strength as they flow downhill toward the sea. Drop by drop, they wear away the hardest rocks, creating valleys, canyons, and deltas through nothing but persistence and time. The Colorado River carved the Grand Canyon over 6 million years, each flood season cutting just a little deeper into the stone. Rivers meander across landscapes in graceful curves, taking the path of least resistance, but never giving up their journey to the ocean. They carry sediments from mountains to seas, building new land while wearing away the old. In their patient work, rivers teach us that the gentlest forces, given time, can move mountains. Butterflies navigate using an internal compass tuned to the sun. Each autumn, millions of monarch butterflies embark on one of nature's most remarkable journeys. Flying up to 3,000 miles from Canada to Mexico, they travel to forests they have never seen, guided by an internal navigation system more precise than any human technology. Their brains contain a biological compass that tracks the position of the sun and adjusts for the time of day, allowing them to maintain a steady southwestern heading, even as the Earth rotates beneath them. What makes this journey even more extraordinary is that the butterflies making the trip have never made it before. It takes 4 generations to complete the full migration cycle, yet somehow the great-great-grandchildren know exactly where to go. They carry ancient maps written in their genes, following paths established by countless generations before them. Seeds can wait decades for the perfect moment to grow. Buried in forest floors around the world lie countless seeds, patient and still, waiting for their moment to begin. Some seeds can remain dormant for years, even decades, until conditions are exactly right. They sense moisture, temperature, and the quality of light filtering through the forest canopy above. When an old tree falls and creates a gap in the canopy, sudden sunlight reaches the forest floor, and seeds that have waited in darkness for 50 years or more suddenly spring to life. This patient strategy ensures that new trees grow only when they have the best chance of survival. Desert seeds are even more patient, waiting through years of drought for the rare heavy rains that will give them enough water to complete their entire life cycle. In their stillness, seeds teach us that sometimes the wisest action is to wait. The aurora dances to the rhythm of solar winds. High above the Earth's atmosphere, in the thin air where space begins, one of nature's most beautiful performances unfolds in silence. The aurora borealis and aurora australis paint the sky with curtains of green, blue, and sometimes red light that shimmer and dance like silk scarves in a gentle breeze. This celestial ballet is choreographed by the interaction between charged particles from the sun and our planet's magnetic field. When solar winds carrying these particles encounter Earth's magnetosphere, they are guided toward the poles, where they collide with gases in our upper atmosphere. Oxygen atoms glow green and red when excited by these collisions, while nitrogen produces blues and purples. The result is a light show that can stretch across entire continents, visible even from space as ribbons of color wrapping around the polar regions. Mushrooms fruit in fairy rings that grow larger each year. In meadows and forests, mysterious circles of mushrooms appear as if placed by invisible hands. These fairy rings, as they've been called for centuries, are actually the visible signs of underground fungal networks that grow outward from a central point year after year. The mushrooms we see are just the fruiting bodies of vast organisms living beneath the soil, their true forms consisting of thread-like networks called mycelium that can span acres. As the fungus exhausts nutrients at its center, it continues growing outward, creating rings that expand by a few inches each year. Some fairy rings are hundreds of years old and hundreds of feet across, marking the slow but steady progress of organisms that were thriving long before the trees above them ever took root. These rings remind us that much of nature's true activity happens out of sight, in the quiet spaces beneath our feet. Honeybees dance to share maps of flower locations. In the darkness of the hive, honeybees perform one of nature's most sophisticated forms of communication. When a scout bee discovers a rich patch of flowers, she returns to the hive and shares this information through dance. The waggle dance, as scientists call it, is a figure-8 pattern that encodes both the distance and direction to the flowers. The length of the straight run in the middle of the figure-8 indicates distance, while the angle of the dance relative to vertical tells other bees which direction to fly relative to the sun. Even more remarkably, bees adjust their dance to account for the movement of the sun across the sky, updating their directions in real time. A dance performed at noon will point in a different direction than the same dance performed an hour later, as the bee compensates for the sun's apparent movement. Through this elegant choreography, a single bee can guide her sisters to food sources miles away from the hive. Coral reefs grow by less than an inch each year, building islands over millennia. Beneath tropical seas, tiny animals no bigger than pinheads are constructing some of Earth's largest living structures. Coral polyps extract calcium carbonate from seawater to build their skeletal homes, growing upward toward the light at a pace so slow it's barely measurable. Most corals add less than an inch of new growth each year, yet over thousands of years, their accumulated skeletons form reefs that can be seen from space. The Great Barrier Reef, built entirely by these patient creatures, stretches for over 1,400 miles along Australia's coast. Some coral atolls began growing when dinosaurs still walked the earth, their foundations built by countless generations of polyps, each adding its tiny contribution to structures that would eventually become islands. In the coral's slow work, we see how small actions, repeated over vast spans of time, can literally reshape the world. Redwood trees can live for more than 2,000 years, growing slowly toward the sky. In the coastal forests of California, giants stand in quiet majesty, their crowns lost in morning fog, their roots anchored in earth that has supported them for millennia. Coast redwoods are among the oldest living things on Earth, some beginning their growth before the birth of Christ and continuing to add new rings to their trunks each year. These ancient trees grow slowly and deliberately, their wood soft and resistant to fire and disease. They create their own climate, catching moisture from fog on their needles and dripping it to the forest floor below, supporting entire ecosystems in their canopy. Some redwoods are so large that their trunks could contain entire rooms. Yet they began as seeds no bigger than tomato seeds, growing ring by ring, season by season, toward their eventual cathedral height. Standing among redwoods feels like entering a natural church, quiet and sacred, where time is measured not in minutes, but in centuries. Spiderwebs are rebuilt fresh each morning with mathematical precision. As dawn breaks across gardens and forests, millions of spiders begin their daily work of construction. Many orb weaver spiders consume their entire web each morning and build a new one before dusk, recycling the protein from the old silk into fresh strands. Each web is a masterpiece of engineering, with radial threads providing structure and sticky spiral threads capturing prey. The spacing of these spiral threads follows mathematical principles that maximize the web's efficiency while using the least amount of silk. Some spiders adjust their web design based on the type of prey they expect to catch, creating different patterns for flying insects versus crawling ones. The silk itself is stronger than steel by weight, yet flexible enough to absorb the impact of flying insects without breaking. Each morning's web represents hours of patient work, yet spiders build them with the casual expertise of master architects, creating beauty that lasts only a day. Tide pools reset themselves twice daily, creating miniature worlds. Where the ocean meets the rocky shore, small worlds appear and disappear with the rhythm of the tides. Tide pools are temporary sanctuaries, filled when waves crash over them at high tide and isolated when the water retreats. The creatures living in these pools have adapted to a life of constant change, surviving hours of exposure to air and sun before being submerged again. Sea anemones close their tentacles and wait like patient flowers for the water to return. Hermit crabs explore the temporary boundaries of their shrinking world. Barnacles seal themselves tight against the air, living off stored moisture until the next tide arrives. Each tide pool is different, shaped by the particular arrangement of rocks and the specific, ific creatures that call it home. They are temporary worlds, lasting only until the next tide reshapes them. Yet they have hosted life in this ever-changing way for millions of years. Mountain lakes form mirrors that have reflected clouds for thousands of years. High in alpine valleys, where glaciers once carved deep basins in solid rock, mountain lakes lie still as glass, reflecting peaks and sky with perfect clarity. These lakes are often fed by snowmelt and underground springs, their water so pure and cold that they support only the hardiest forms of life. Many alpine lakes freeze solid in winter and remain locked in ice for months, yet life persists in their depths, slowing its metabolism to match the cold. When spring arrives and the ice melts, these lakes become mirrors again, their surfaces broken only by the occasional rising trout or the footprints of deer coming to drink at dawn. The water in these lakes may be hundreds or even thousands of years old, cycled slowly through underground systems that filter it through layers of rock and time. To sit beside a mountain lake is to witness a kind of natural meditation, where water, stone, and sky meet in perfect stillness. Fireflies synchronize their flashing in some forests, creating natural light shows. On warm summer evenings in certain forests around the world, magic happens. Thousands of fireflies begin to blink in unison, their tiny lights pulsing together like a living constellation. This synchronization isn't planned or directed by any leader. Instead, it emerges naturally as individual fireflies adjust their timing to match their neighbors. Scientists believe this coordination helps fireflies find mates more easily in the crowded light display, each species maintaining its own rhythm within the larger symphony. In some forests in Southeast Asia, entire trees light up as if decorated with Christmas lights, thousands of fireflies blinking together in perfect time. The synchrony can cover acres of forest, creating a gentle strobe effect that transforms the darkness into something magical. These displays remind us that sometimes the most beautiful phenomena arise not from competition, but from cooperation and harmony. Lichen grows so slowly that some patches are thousands of years old. On bare rock faces and ancient tombstones, colorful crusts of lichen spread in patterns that seem painted by invisible hands. These remarkable organisms are not single creatures, but partnerships between fungi and algae, working together in one of nature's most successful collaborations. The fungus provides structure and protection, while the algae produces food through photosynthesis. Together they can survive in places where neither could live alone, from Arctic tundra to desert stones. Some lichen colonies grow less than a millimeter per year, their expansion so gradual that researchers use them to date ancient rock surfaces and archaeological sites. A patch of lichen the size of a dinner plate might be older than the oldest trees, quietly claiming its small territory grain by grain, year by year. In their patient persistence, lichen teaches us that life can find a way to flourish even on bare stone, given enough time and cooperation. Whales sing songs that travel across entire ocean basins. In the deep blue waters far from any shore, the ocean carries melodies that can span continents. Humpback whales compose complex songs that can last for hours, repeating themes and variations like aquatic symphonies. These songs travel through the water at the speed of sound, reaching other whales hundreds or even thousands of miles away. Each population of humpback whales has its own dialect, and remarkably, their songs evolve over time as new phrases are added and old ones fade away. Blue whales produce even deeper calls, sounds so low that humans can barely hear them, but so powerful they can cross entire ocean basins. A blue whale calling off the coast of California might be heard by another blue whale near Japan. The Ocean Biko is a vast concert hall where whale songs echo and overlap, creating an underwater soundscape that has existed for millions of years, long before human voices ever joined the chorus. Desert cacti bloom in explosions of color after rare rainfalls. In the harsh landscapes of the world's deserts, life waits patiently for its moment to celebrate. Most desert plants spend their energy conserving water and surviving the scorching heat. But when the rare heavy rains arrive, they transform their environments into unexpected gardens. Cacti that have remained green and silent for months suddenly burst into brilliant flower, their blooms often more colorful and spectacular than those of plants in gentler climates. Barrel cacti crown themselves with rings of yellow, orange, or red flowers, Prickly pear cacti produce blooms in shades of pink and gold that seem to glow against the harsh landscape. These desert celebrations are brief but intense, as plants race to bloom, attract pollinators, and set seed before the precious moisture disappears. The timing is so precise that entire desert regions can bloom simultaneously, turning barren landscapes into temporary tapestries of color that last only days before fading back into patient green silence. Migratory birds use star maps passed down through generations. Each night, billions of birds take to the skies on journeys that span continents, navigating by celestial maps encoded in their genes. Many songbirds migrate at night, using the positions of stars to guide them along routes their ancestors have flown for thousands of years. Young birds on their first migration somehow know which stars to follow, as if they carry ancient charts written in their DNA. They can detect the rotation of the night sky and use it to maintain their heading even when clouds obscure individual stars. Some birds also sense the Earth's magnetic field, adding another layer to their navigation system that works even on cloudy nights. The precision of these journeys is remarkable. Arctic terns travel from Arctic to Antarctic and back each year, following routes that take them across both poles in an endless summer. Tiny ruby-throated hummingbirds, weighing less than a penny, fly non-stop across the Gulf of Mexico, trusting ancient instincts to carry them safely across 600 miles of open water. Moss grows in cushions that can survive being frozen solid. In the harsh environments of mountain peaks and Arctic tundra, moss creates its own microclimate, forming dense cushions that protect delicate growing tips from wind and cold. These moss cushions can be hundreds of years old, growing so slowly that they add only millimeters of height each year. What makes moss truly remarkable is its ability to essentially come back from the dead. When frozen solid or completely dried out, moss doesn't die but enters a state of suspended animation. When conditions improve, it simply resumes growing as if nothing happened. Some moss specimens have been revived after being frozen in ice for thousands of years. This resilience allows moss to colonize environments too harsh for most other plants, slowly building soil and creating conditions where other species can eventually take hold. Moss cushions become islands of life in barren landscapes, their patient growth preparing the way for forests that may not appear for centuries. Ancient trees communicate stress through chemical signals in the air. When a tree is attacked by insects or infected by disease, it doesn't suffer in silence. Instead, it releases a complex mixture of chemical compounds into the air, creating a molecular message that nearby trees can detect and respond to. These airborne chemicals, called volatile organic compounds, carry specific information about the type of threat the tree is facing. Neighboring trees that detect these signals begin producing defensive compounds in their leaves, making themselves less appealing or even toxic to potential attackers. Some trees can distinguish between different threats, producing different chemical responses to caterpillars than they do to fungal infections. This chemical communication system operates so efficiently that trees downwind of an attacked tree can begin their defenses before the threat actually reaches them. The forest becomes a connected network of early warning systems, where danger signals travel on the wind from tree to tree, allowing the entire community to prepare for challenges before they arrive. Snowflakes form around microscopic particles of dust or pollen in the clouds. High in the atmosphere where water vapor condenses into clouds, each snowflake begins its journey around a tiny nucleus, often a grain of dust, a fragment of pollen, or even a microscopic piece of volcanic ash. As water molecules freeze around this central particle, they arrange themselves in hexagonal patterns that reflect the underlying crystal structure of ice. The exact shape each snowflake takes depends on the temperature and humidity it encounters during its fall to Earth, creating an infinite variety of forms. No two snowflakes follow exactly the same path through the atmosphere, which is why each one develops its own unique pattern of branches and points. The intricate beauty of snowflakes emerges from ample physical laws played out on a microscopic scale as water molecules find their most stable arrangement around a speck of dust smaller than the period at the end of this sentence. In their brief existence, snowflakes remind us that even the most complex and beautiful forms in nature often arise from the simplest beginnings. Beavers engineer entire ecosystems with their patient dam building. In streams and rivers across northern forests, beavers work as nature's hydraulic engineers, reshaping entire watersheds with nothing but teeth, persistence, and an instinctive understanding of water flow. A beaver dam might seem like a simple pile of sticks, but it's actually a sophisticated structure designed to control water levels and create the deep ponds beavers need for safety and food storage. These dams slow the flow of rivers, reducing erosion and creating wetlands that support dozens of other species. The ponds behind beaver dams become nurseries for fish, nesting sites for waterfowl, and drinking spots for deer and other wildlife. Beaver engineering can even help prevent floods by storing water during heavy rains and releasing it slowly during dry periods. A single beaver family can maintain several dams across their territory, creating a network of interconnected wetlands that can persist for decades. When beavers abandon an area, their dams gradually fill with sediment, creating fertile meadows where forests eventually grow, leaving only subtle traces of the patient engineering that once shaped the landscape. Ocean currents carry warm water toward the poles in rivers beneath the sea. Beneath the surface of every ocean, vast currents flow like underwater rivers, carrying warm water from the equator toward the poles and cold water back toward the tropics. These currents are driven by differences in water temperature and salinity, creating a global circulation system that helps regulate the Earth's climate. The Gulf Stream carries warm Caribbean water northward along the eastern coast of North America, moderating the climate of Northern Europe. Without this warm current, London might have a climate more like northern Canada, despite being at the same latitude. These underwater rivers move slowly, but carry enormous volumes of water, far more than all the rivers on land combined. They transport heat, nutrients, and marine life across entire ocean basins, connecting distant ecosystems in ways that are invisible from the surface. The deep ocean currents that drive this circulation can take centuries to complete their global journey, making them some of the slowest yet most powerful forces shaping our planet's climate and supporting marine life in every corner of the sea. Some plants fold their leaves at night as if going to sleep. As darkness falls across gardens and forests, many plants begin a nightly ritual that resembles sleep. Prayer plants curl their leaves upward. Mimosa plants fold their delicate leaflets closed, and clover leaves droop toward their stems. This behavior, called nyctinisty, helps plants conserve moisture and protect their leaves from cool night air and frost. The movements are controlled by changes in water pressure within special cells at the base of each leaf, creating a hydraulic system that responds to light and darkness. Some plants are so sensitive to these daily rhythms that they continue to open and close their leaves even when kept in constant light or darkness, following internal biological clocks that have been synchronized, to the day-night cycle over millions of years of evolution. Watching a time-lapse video of these sleeping plants reveals a hidden world of botanical choreography, where entire gardens seem to breathe and stretch in slow motion, settling into stillness as night deepens and awakening again with the first light of dawn. Cloud forests exist in a perpetual embrace of mist and mystery. High on tropical mountainsides, where warm air meets cool peaks, entire ecosystems live suspended in clouds. These forests are draped in constant fog that rolls through the trees like slow breath, creating a world where water comes not from rain, but from the very air itself. Tree branches are laden with moss and ferns that drink directly from the mist, their roots barely touching soil as they gather moisture from the saturated atmosphere. Cloud forests support species found nowhere else on Earth, creatures adapted to life in perpetual twilight, where the boundary between air and water dissolves. The trees themselves become living sponges, their leaves and bark covered in gardens of epiphytes that filter nutrients from the fog. Walking through a cloud forest feels like entering a dream, where familiar shapes emerge and fade in the swirling mist, and every surface drips with condensed cloud water that sustains an entire world above the ordinary reach of rain. Salmon navigate home using the magnetic memory of their birth waters. Born in freshwater streams thousands of miles from the ocean, young salmon carry within their cells a magnetic signature of their birthplace that will guide them home years later. As they swim toward the sea, their bodies record the unique magnetic field of their natal waters, creating a biological GPS system more precise than any human technology. After spending years in the vast Pacific, feeding and growing, mature salmon begin an epic journey back to the exact stream where they were born. They navigate not by sight or smell alone, but by following magnetic pathways impressed upon them in their youth. This magnetic memory is so precise that salmon can distinguish between streams just a few miles apart, returning with unerring accuracy to spawn in the same gravel beds where their own lives began. Their journey upstream is a testament to the power of biological memory, as fish that have roamed oceans for years suddenly know exactly where home lies, hidden among thousands of similar streams. Glaciers flow like frozen rivers, carving landscapes over thousands of years. High in mountain valleys where snow never fully melts, glaciers accumulate layer upon layer of compressed ice, eventually becoming so heavy they begin to flow downhill under their own weight. This movement is almost imperceptible from day to day, measured in inches per year rather than miles per hour. Yet over centuries, glaciers reshape entire mountain ranges. They carve U-shaped valleys, polish granite cliffs smooth, and transport massive boulders hundreds of miles from their origins. The ice at the bottom of a glacier may be thousands of years old, compressed into crystal blue formations harder than rock, yet still flowing like thick honey under the immense pressure above. As glaciers advance and retreat with sea climate cycles, they leave behind telltale signs of their passage, moraines of rock debris, kettle lakes, and hanging valleys that speak of ice ages long past. The work of glaciers reminds us that even ice, given enough time and pressure, can flow like water and reshape continents with patient, inexorable force. Deciduous trees prepare for winter months before the first frost arrives. Long before autumn's chill touches the air, trees begin their preparation for winter's sleep. As daylight hours gradually shorten in late summer, trees respond to these subtle changes by beginning to withdraw nutrients from their leaves and store them in their trunk and root. This process creates the brilliant colors of fall as green chlorophyll breaks down and reveals the yellow, orange, and red pigments that were hidden beneath it all summer long. The tree seals off the connection between each leaf and branch with a special layer of cells, eventually allowing the leaves to fall while keeping the tree's energy safely stored below. This timing is so precise that trees in the same forest often change color and drop their leaves within days of each other, following internal calendars calibrated to the subtle dance of earth and sun. Winter dormancy allows trees to survive months of freezing temperatures by slowing their metabolism to almost nothing, living off stored energy until spring warmth signals them to begin growing again. Deep sea creatures create their own light in the endless darkness below. In the deepest parts of the ocean, where sunlight never penetrates, life has learned to make its own illumination. Bioluminescent creatures fill the abyss with gentle glows, twinkling like underwater stars in the eternal night. Jellyfish pulse with blue-green light, squid flash patterns along their tentacles, and deep-sea fish dangle glowing lures to attract prey in the darkness. This living light is created through chemical reactions within their bodies, combinations of enzymes and molecules that produce cold light without heat. Some creatures use their bioluminescence to communicate, flashing coded messages to potential mates in languages of light written across the ocean depths. Others create startling displays when threatened, bursting into brilliant flashes that confuse predators or attract larger predators to drive away immediate threats. The deep ocean glimmers with thousands of these biological lights, creating a constellation beneath the waves where creatures navigate, hunt, and court by the gentle glow of their own making. Sand dunes migrate across deserts like slow-moving waves of earth. In the world's great deserts, dunes are not permanent landmarks, but travelers moving grain by grain across vast landscapes in response to prevailing winds. A single dune can take decades or even centuries to migrate across a desert, its windward face slowly eroded, while its leeward slope grows with accumulated sand. The process is so gradual it's barely perceptible, yet over time entire dune fields can shift position, burying oases and revealing new ones as the sands move on. Some dunes travel in predictable paths, following ancient routes worn by countless cycles of wind and weather. Others wander more randomly, their movements influenced by changes in wind patterns or obstacles in their path. The sand grains themselves may travel thousands of miles over many years, lifted by windstorms and carried across continents before settling temporarily in a new dune formation. These migrations create an ever-changing desert landscape where the only constant is change itself. As mountains of sand slowly walk across the earth under the patient guidance of wind and time. Hummingbirds enter a state resembling hibernation each night to conserve energy. Despite their tiny size and seemingly boundless energy during daylight hours, hummingbirds face a significant challenge each night as temperatures drop and flowers close their nectar sources. To survive until dawn, many hummingbirds enter a state called torpor, dramatically slowing their metabolism and lowering their body temperature by as much as 50 degrees. Their heart rate, which can exceed 1,200 beats per minute during active flight, drops to fewer than 50 beats per minute during torpor. This nightly mini-hibernation allows them to conserve the energy they'll need to warm up and resume their hyperactive lifestyle when the sun rises. Some hummingbirds become so deeply torpid that they appear almost lifeless, hanging from branches like tiny ornaments, their breathing barely detectable. Awakening from torpor requires significant energy as they vibrate their flight muscles rapidly to generate the heat needed to return their body temperature to normal. This daily cycle of extreme activity, followed by near-death stillness, represents one of nature's most dramatic energy conservation strategies. Raindrops fall at different speeds depending on their size, creating natural percussion in the forest. When rain falls through the canopy of a forest, each drop becomes part of an intricate percussion symphony played out on leaves, bark, and forest floor. Large raindrops, formed high in storm clouds, fall faster and strike with more force, creating the deep bass notes as they hit broad leaves or splash into puddles. Smaller droplets, often created when larger drops break apart on branches above, fall more gently and create softer, higher-pitched sounds as they tap against delicate ferns or trickle down tree bark. The forest canopy acts as a natural instrument, with different leaf shapes and textures producing their own distinctive sounds when struck by falling water. Broad leaves create drum-like sounds, while pine needles produce a softer rustling whisper as droplets slide along their surfaces. This acoustic complexity means that no two rainstorms sound exactly alike in the forest, each one creating its own unique composition determined by the size of the drops, the force of the wind, and the particular arrangement of leaves and branches that serve as nature's percussion section. Polar ice records Earth's atmospheric history in frozen layers. Deep within the ice sheets of Antarctica and Greenland lies a detailed record of Earth's climate history, preserved in layers of ice that have accumulated over hundreds of thousands of years. Each annual layer of ice contains tiny bubbles of ancient atmosphere, trapping samples of the air from the year that layer formed. Scientists can drill deep cores from these ice sheets and analyze the chemical composition of these ancient air bubbles, reconstructing the levels of carbon dioxide, methane, and other atmospheric gases from long before human records began. The ice also contains dust, pollen, and volcanic ash that tell stories of ancient eruptions, forest fires, and changing vegetation patterns. Some ice cores extend back nearly 1 million years, providing a continuous record of climate cycles, ice ages, and atmospheric changes that shaped the planet long before human civilization began. Reading these frozen archives requires patience and precision, as researchers carefully examine layers thinner than pages in a book, each one representing a single year in Earth's ancient history, preserved in crystal-clear ice. Turtles navigate vast oceans using magnetic highways invisible to human senses. Sea turtles hatched on beaches around the world embark on journeys that can span entire ocean basins, guided by magnetic maps they can sense but we cannot see. Young sea turtles imprint on the unique magnetic signature of their birth beach, creating a homing system that will guide them back to the same stretch of sand decades later when they're ready to reproduce. During their oceanic wanderings, they follow magnetic highways created by variations in Earth's magnetic field, invisible pathways that help them navigate between feeding and breeding areas thousands of miles apart. These magnetic highways are remarkably consistent over time, allowing turtles to learn routes that remain stable throughout their lifetimes. Scientists believe turtles can detect not only the strength of magnetic fields, but also their inclination angle, giving them a sophisticated positioning system that works even in the featureless expanse of the open ocean. This magnetic sense is so precise that turtles can distinguish between magnetic signatures just a few miles apart, allowing them to return to specific beaches after decades of ocean wandering. Morning dew forms through the quiet alchemy of cooling air and patient surfaces. In the hours before dawn, when the Earth has radiated away the day's heat and temperatures drop to their lowest point, moisture suspended in the air begins to condense on every available surface. Blades of grass, flower petals, spider webs, and leaves all become collectors of this atmospheric water, their surfaces cooling faster than the surrounding air until they reach the dew point, where water vapor transforms into tiny droplets. This process happens silently and gradually, as millions of microscopic water droplets appear seemingly from nowhere, covering the world in a temporary blanket of crystal beads. The formation of dew requires specific conditions: clear skies that allow heat to radiate away rapidly, light winds that don't disperse the cooling air, and sufficient moisture in the atmosphere to provide the raw material for condensation. Some plants have evolved to take advantage of this nightly moisture, their leaves shaped to channel dewdrops toward their roots, allowing them to harvest water from the air itself in regions where rainfall is scarce. Ancient forests create their own weather patterns through transpiration cycles. Mature forests are not merely collections of trees, but complex weather-making systems that generate their own rainfall and moderate their local climate. Through the process of transpiration, trees release water vapor from their leaves, adding moisture to the air above the forest canopy. This moisture rises with warm air currents, eventually condensing into clouds that often release their rain back onto the forest below. Large forests like the Amazon create so much of their own weather that they can influence rainfall patterns hundreds of miles away, sending moisture-laden air currents across entire continents. The timing of this transpiration follows daily and seasonal rhythms, with trees releasing the most moisture during warm daylight hours when photosynthesis is most active. Old-growth forests are particularly effective at this weather creation because their deep root systems can access groundwater unavailable to younger trees, allowing them to continue transpiring even during dry periods. This self-sustaining water cycle means that some forests essentially create the conditions they need to thrive, generating their own rainfall through the collective breathing of millions of trees. Lichens serve as natural air quality monitors, changing color and growth patterns with pollution levels. These remarkable partnerships between fungi and algae are so sensitive to air quality that scientists use them as living indicators of atmospheric health. Different species of lichens respond to specific types of air pollution, some disappearing entirely when sulfur dioxide levels rise, others changing color when exposed to nitrogen compounds from vehicle emissions. In cities, the presence or absence of certain lichens on tree bark and stone surfaces can reveal pollution gradients invisible to human senses, mapping air quality with biological precision. Some lichens accumulate heavy metals and radioactive particles from the atmosphere, serving as natural archives of environmental contamination that can be read years later by researchers studying pollution history. The most sensitive species are found only in areas with the cleanest air, while more tolerant varieties can survive in urban environments, creating a biological gradient that reflects the chemical composition of the local atmosphere. This sensitivity makes lichens valuable early warning systems for environmental changes, as they respond to air quality shifts long before effects become apparent in larger plants or animals. Ocean waves carry messages from storms thousands of miles away, long after a distant hurricane has exhausted its fury and dissolved back into ordinary weather. Its legacy continues to travel across the sea in the form of swells. These rolling waves move through the ocean like liquid memories, carrying the energy of storms that may have occurred weeks ago and thousands of miles from where they finally reach shore. Unlike the choppy waves created by local winds, swells are smooth and regular, their peaks and troughs spaced evenly as they march across entire ocean basins. Surfers and sailors learn to read these wave patterns like a language, recognizing the signatures of different storm systems in the size, spacing, and direction of the swells. A gentle 4-foot wave breaking on a California beach might have begun its journey as part of a typhoon near Japan, traveling for 2 weeks across the Pacific before finally expending its energy on a distant shore. These wave messengers remind us that the ocean connects all shores, carrying whispers of weather from one side of the earth to the other. Crystals grow in caves over millions of years, creating underground cathedrals. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, in caverns carved by patient groundwater, some of nature's most spectacular architecture takes shape with geological slowness. Cave crystals form as mineral-rich water seeps through rock, depositing tiny amounts of dissolved minerals with each drop. Over thousands or millions of years, these microscopic deposits accumulate into formations of breathtaking beauty. Gypsum crystals can grow into translucent pillars taller than trees, their surfaces smooth and clear as glass. Calcite formations build themselves into flowstone cascades that look like frozen waterfalls, or create delicate soda straws hanging from cave ceilings like mineral icicles. The famous Cave of Crystals in Mexico contains selenite beams longer than telephone poles, grown in complete darkness over 500,000 years. These underground galleries exist in eternal stillness, their crystalline inhabitants growing imperceptibly in the absence of sunlight, wind, or weather, creating beauty that may never be seen by human eyes. Mayflies live their entire adult lives in a single day, dancing in brief clouds of celebration. After spending months or even years as aquatic nymphs hidden beneath the surface of streams and lakes, mayflies undergo one of nature's most dramatic transformations. They emerge from the water as winged adults with just one purpose: to find a mate and reproduce before their brief lives end. Most mayfly species live as adults for only hours or at most a few days, their delicate transparent wings carrying them in mating swarms that rise and fall like living smoke above the water. These ephemeral dances often occur in synchrony, with thousands of mayflies emerging simultaneously on warm evenings, creating spectacular aerial ballets that attract birds and bats from miles around. Despite their brief adult existence, mayflies have persisted for over 300 million years. Their ancient life, niche proving that sometimes the shortest lives can be the most enduring. Their fleeting presence reminds us that duration is not the only measure of a life well lived, as these delicate creatures compress an entire lifetime of purpose into the space between sunset and dawn. Underground rivers flow through hidden networks carved in stone. Beneath many landscapes, secret rivers flow through darkness, following channels dissolved from solid rock over millions of years. These underground waterways begin as surface streams that disappear into caves or sinkholes, continuing their journey through networks of tunnels and chambers invisible from above. Some underground rivers travel for hundreds of miles before emerging as springs, their water having filtered slowly through limestone and other soluble rocks. The Mammoth Cave system in Kentucky contains over 400 miles of mapped underground passages, many following ancient river channels that carved their way through the bedrock grain by grain. These hidden waters maintain constant temperatures year-round, aiding refugees where specialized creatures have evolved in perpetual darkness. Blind fish navigate by sensing water currents, while pale cave salamanders hunt by touch in waters that have never seen sunlight. The patient work of these underground rivers creates some of Earth's most spectacular hidden architecture. Vast chambers and intricate passages sculpted entirely by the gentle persistence of flowing water. Sloth moths spend their entire lives in the fur of a single sloth. High in the rainforest canopy, three-toed sloths move through the trees so slowly they become mobile ecosystems, hosting communities of creatures found nowhere else on Earth. Sloth moths are tiny insects that live their entire life cycles within the thick fur of their host, feeding on algae that grows on the sloth's hair and laying their eggs in the sloth's weekly bathroom visits to the forest floor. This relationship has evolved over millions of years into an intricate partnership where the moths help fertilize the algae gardens growing on the sloth's fur, while the algae provide both camouflage for the sloth and food for the moths. Each sloth carries dozens of these specialized moths, creating a portable habitat that moves slowly through the forest canopy. The moths are so adapted to their sloth homes that they cannot survive anywhere else, their wings reduced to mere stubs since they rarely need to fly. This partnership represents one of nature's most intimate relationships, where two very different creatures have become completely dependent on each other for survival. Arctic flowers bloom in explosions of color during the brief polar summer, when the endless night of the Arctic winter finally gives way to the midnight sun. The tundra undergoes one of Earth's most dramatic seasonal transformations. Plants that have survived months of darkness and temperatures far below freezing suddenly burst into bloom, creating carpets of color across landscapes that seemed lifeless just weeks before. Arctic poppies turn their faces to follow the sun as it circles the sky without setting, their bright yellow petals capturing every available photon during the brief growing season. Purple saxifrage blooms so early it often pushes up through snow, while cotton grass creates fields of white plumes that wave in the polar wind. These Arctic flowers must complete their entire reproductive cycle in just a few months, racing to bloom, attract the few available pollinators, and set seed before winter returns. Many Arctic plants are perennials that live for decades, slowly accumulating energy during brief summers to survive the long, dark winters. Their root systems grow in larger and more complex each year, even as their above-ground portions remain small and low to avoid the harsh polar winds. Tree rings record not only age, but also memories of drought, fire, and abundance. Within the trunk of every tree lies a detailed autobiography written in wood, each ring representing 1 year of growth and carrying information about the conditions that shaped that year. Wide rings form during years of abundant rainfall and favorable growing conditions, while narrow rings mark periods of drought, disease, or competition from neighboring trees. Scientists can read these wooden chronicles like history books, reconstructing climate patterns, rainfall levels, and even the dates of forest fires from centuries or millennia past. Some trees carry scars from ancient fires that burned their bark but didn't kill them, healing over the damage with distinctive patterns of scar tissue that mark the exacts, the year of each blaze. The bristlecone pines of California's mountains contain rings dating back over 4,000 years, making them live-in libraries of climate history older than the pyramids. By comparing ring patterns from many trees across a region, researchers can reconstruct detailed pictures of past environments, tracking everything from volcanic eruptions that blocked sunlight to insect outbreaks that stressed entire forests. Penguins huddle in constantly rotating groups to share warmth during blizzards. In the harsh Antarctic winter, when temperatures drop below -40 degrees and winds howl across the ice at hurricane force, emperor penguins demonstrate one of nature's most elegant solutions to extreme cold. Thousands of penguins form enormous huddles, pressing together to share body heat and shelter each other from the wind. These huddles are not static formations, but dynamic communities in constant motion, with penguins on the cold outer edges gradually working their way toward the warm center, while those who have warmed up move back toward the periphery. This rotation ensures that no individual penguin bears the full burden of the cold, and that even the weakest members of the colony get their turn in the life-saving warmth of the huddle's center. The huddles can contain up to 10,000 penguins and generate so much heat that the temperature at the center can be 40 degrees warmer than the surrounding air. This cooperative behavior allows emperor penguins to survive the harshest winter on Earth while incubating their eggs and caring for their chicks during the most challenging season. Bamboo can grow up to 3 feet in a single day during peak growing season. Among the world's fastest growing plants, bamboo demonstrates nature's capacity for explosive growth under the right conditions. During the wet season in tropical regions, some bamboo species add height so rapidly that their growth is visible to the naked eye, shooting upward at rates that can exceed an inch per hour. This remarkable growth is possible because bamboo doesn't grow like trees, adding new cells at branch tips, but instead elongates its entire stem simultaneously through hydraulic pressure and cellular expansion. Young bamboo shoots emerge from underground rhizome networks that may have been storing energy for years, allowing them to fund rapid growth from extensive root systems. The bamboo's hollow stem structure minimizes the amount of material needed to achieve great height, while its flexible design allows it to bend with strong winds rather than breaking. Some bamboo species can reach their full adult height of over 100 feet in just a few months, creating forests that literally grow up around you during a single growing season. Monarch butterfly wings contain microscopic scales that create their orange color through structural interference. The brilliant orange wings of monarch butterflies owe their vivid color not to pigments alone, but to the intricate microscopic architecture of their wing scales. Each wing is covered with thousands of tiny scales arranged like overlapping roof tiles, each scale containing microscopic ridges and structures that interact with light in complex ways. While some of the orange color comes from pigments, much of the intensity and particular hue results from the way these microscopic structures bend and reflect different wavelengths of light. This structural coloration is what gives monarch wings their distinctive metallic shimmer and helps the orange appear so vibrant even in dim light. The black borders and white spots on monarch wings contain different arrangements of scales, some designed to absorb light completely, while others reflect it in specific patterns that may help monarchs recognize members of their own species during migration and mating. Each wing scale is a masterpiece of biological engineering, precisely shaped to contribute to the overall visual display that has made monarchs one of the most recognizable butterflies in the world. Deep ocean trenches create pressure environments equivalent to having 50 jumbo jets stacked overhead. In the deepest parts of the ocean, where tectonic plates dive beneath one another, trenches descend to depths where the pressure becomes almost incomprehensible. At the bottom of the Mariana Trench, over 35,000 feet below sea level, the pressure exceeds 1,000 times that at sea level, equivalent to having the weight of 50 fully loaded jumbo jets pressing down on every square meter. Yet even in these crushing depths, life persists in forms specially adapted to extreme pressure. Deep-sea creatures in these trenches have bodies designed to equalize internal and external pressure. often lacking the air-filled organs that would collapse under such conditions. Some deep trench organisms produce special proteins that remain stable under extreme pressure, while others have modified cellular structures that actually function better under crushing weight than they would at sea level. The water itself behaves differently at these depths, becoming denser and less compressible, creating an environment as alien as any found on other planets, yet hosting communities of specialized organisms found nowhere else on Earth. Night-blooming cereus flowers open for just one night each year in perfect synchrony. In deserts across the Americas, one of nature's most exclusive performances occurs on just a few nights each year when the queen of the night cereus decides to bloom. These remarkable cacti spend 11 months of the year looking like nothing more than dead sticks. But when conditions are perfect, they produce enormous white flowers that open only after sunset and close forever before dawn. What makes this event even more extraordinary is that all the cereus plants in a region tend to bloom on the same night, creating a synchronized flowering that happens just once or twice per year. The flowers are magnificently fragrant, designed to attract night-flying moths and bats that serve as pollinators in the brief window when the blooms are open. People travel hundreds of miles and stay up all night to witness this rare spectacle, watching as buds that have been developing for weeks suddenly unfurl in the space of an hour into flowers larger than dinner plates. The blooms are so ephemeral that many cereus plants go years between flowering events, making each blooming night a celebration of patience rewarded and timing perfected. Salmon runs can be so massive they temporarily change the chemistry of entire rivers. When Pacific salmon return from the ocean to spawn in their natal streams, they bring with them nutrients from the sea that transform freshwater ecosystems. During peak salmon runs, millions of fish swim upstream, carrying ocean-derived nitrogen and phosphorus in their bodies, nutrients that are often scarce in mountain streams and rivers. As salmon spawn and die, their decomposing bodies release these marine nutrients into the freshwater ecosystem, fertilizing everything from algae to riverside forests. Trees growing along salmon streams show elevated levels of marine-derived nitrogen in their growth rings, evidence that ocean nutrients carried by salmon contribute to forest growth hundreds of feet from the water's edge. Bears, eagles, and other predators drag salmon carcasses into the woods, spreading these oceanic nutrients even further inland. Rivers that host major salmon runs temporarily become more productive ecosystems, supporting larger populations of insects, birds, and other fish that benefit from the pulse of nutrients delivered by the returning salmon. This annual migration creates one of nature's most significant nutrient transfers, linking ocean and forest ecosystems through the bodies of fish following ancient genetic maps home. Stalactites and stalagmites grow toward each other over thousands of years until they meet. In limestone caves around the world, patient mineral formations work toward each other with geological persistence, growing from ceiling and floor respectively, until they eventually join in columns that span the entire height of cave chambers. Stalactites form as mineral-rich water drips from cave ceilings, leaving tiny deposits of calcite with each drop over thousands of years. Meanwhile, stalagmites build upward from the cave floor, where these mineral-laden drops splash and evaporate, leaving their dissolved minerals behind. The growth rate is incredibly slow, typically less than an inch per century. But given enough time, these formations can create cathedral-like spaces filled with towering columns. When a stalactite and stalagmite finally meet after millennia of patient growth, they form a single column that continues to thicken as more mineral-laden water flows down its surface. Some cave systems contain forests of these columns, each one representing tens of thousands of years of steady mineral deposition in the silent darkness underground. The formations often display beautiful banded patterns that record changes in mineral content and water flow over their long formation history. Hummingbirds remember every flower they've visited and when it will have nectar again. Despite having brains smaller than a pea, hummingbirds possess remarkable spatial and temporal memory that allows them to efficiently exploit flower resources across their territories. Each hummingbird maintains a mental map of hundreds of individual flowers, remembering not only their locations, but also their blooming schedules and nectar production cycles. They know which flowers refill with nectar quickly after being emptied, and which ones take hours or days to replenish their sweet rewards. This sophisticated memory system allows hummingbirds to plan efficient foraging routes, timing their visits to coincide with peak nectar availability and avoiding flowers they recently emptied. Research has shown that hummingbirds can remember the nectar production schedules of individual flowers for weeks, adjusting their foraging behavior as flowers change their patterns throughout the growing season. They also remember which flowers are most productive at different times of day, visiting morning blooming species early and saving afternoon flowers for later visits. This mental mapping ability is so precise that hummingbirds spend less than 10% of their foraging time visiting flowers that contain no nectar, demonstrating an efficiency that would be impressive even in creatures with much larger brains. Arctic terns experience 2 summers each year by following the sun between polar regions. These remarkable seabirds embark on the longest migration of any animal, traveling roughly 44,000 miles annually in an endless pursuit of daylight. Born in the brief Arctic summer, young terns learn to fly just as winter approaches, then begin a journey that will take them to the opposite end of the Earth. They arrive in Antarctica as the southern summer begins, spending months in 24-hour daylight before reversing their journey to return north. This epic migration means that Arctic terns see more daylight than any other creature on Earth, experiencing perpetual summer as they follow the sun from pole to pole. Their navigation is so precise, they can return to the exact same nest-in sites year after year, despite traveling distances equivalent to flying to the moon and back 3 times during their lifetime. The energy required for this migration is enormous, yet these delicate birds, weighing less than 4 ounces, complete this journey using only the power of their own wings and an internal compass calibrated to magnetic fields and celestial movements. Yet, mushroom spores can travel around the world on atmospheric currents. Floating high in the atmosphere, microscopic mushroom spores drift on air currents like biological dust, traveling thousands of miles from their parent fungi to establish new colonies on distant continents. These tiny reproductive cells are so small and light, they can remain suspended in the air for weeks, carried by jet streams and weather systems across entire ocean basins. Some spores have been collected from air samples taken at altitudes where commercial aircraft fly, proving that fungi can disperse their offspring through the upper atmosphere. When these airborne spores finally settle in suitable environments, they can germinate and establish new fungal networks, slowly spreading the genetic legacy of their parents across vast distances. This atmospheric dispersal explains how similar fungal species can be found on continents separated by thousands of miles of ocean, their spores having made the journey through the sky rather than across the sea. The mushrooms we see in forests are just the visible fruiting bodies of these far-traveling organisms, whose true networks may span continents through a combination of underground growth and airborne reproduction. Leaves change color in autumn because they stop making the green pigment that masked other colors all summer long. The brilliant reds, oranges, and yellows of autumn foliage are not newly created, but have been present in leaves throughout the growing season, hidden beneath the dominant green of chlorophyll. As daylight hours shorten and temperatures cool, trees begin to withdraw nutrients from their leaves in preparation for winter dormancy. Chlorophyll, the green pigment essential for photosynthesis, breaks down first because it requires constant energy to maintain. As the green fades, other pigments that were always present become visible for the first time. Carotenoids reveal themselves in brilliant yellows and oranges, while anthocyanins, produced fresh each autumn, create the deep red, and purples that make some trees glow like stained glass windows. The exact colors and timing depend on weather conditions, with cool nights and sunny days producing the most vivid displays. This autumn transformation happens gradually, then all at once, as entire hillsides seem to catch fire with color before the leaves drift quietly to the ground, their brief moment of glory marking the end of another growing season. Sea otters hold hands while sleeping to avoid drifting apart in ocean currents. In the kelp forests off the Pacific coast, sea otters have developed one of nature's most endearing survival strategies. These marine mammals spend most of their lives floating on their backs at the ocean surface. But sleeping in open water presents the challenge of staying together as a family group, while currents try to scatter them across the sea. To solve this problem, sea otters link arms or hold paws while they sleep, creating floating chains that keep the group together even as they drift with the tides. They also wrap themselves in kelp fronds like natural anchors, using the seaweed to maintain their position while they rest. Mother otters are particularly diligent about staying connected to their pups, often holding them on their chests while floating on their backs to keep them warm and safe. This hand-holding behavior is not just practical, but also strengthens social bonds within otter groups, creating communities that support each other through the challenges of life in the open ocean. Watching a group of sea otters sleeping peacefully while holding hands, their faces turned toward the sky as they float among the kelp, offers one of nature's most touching examples of cooperation and care. Honey never spoils because its chemical composition creates an environment where bacteria cannot survive. Archaeologists have discovered pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that remain perfectly edible after thousands of years, testament to honey's remarkable preservative properties. This eternal shelf life results from honey's unique chemistry, which creates conditions hostile to bacterial growth. Honey contains very little water, typically less than 18%, which dehydrates any bacteria that attempt to grow in it. Additionally, honey is highly acidic, with a pH low enough to inhibit most microorganisms. When bees process nectar into honey, they add enzymes that gradually release hydrogen peroxide, creating a mild antiseptic effect that further protects against spoilage. The sugar concentration in honey is so high that it draws moisture out of bacterial cells through osmosis, effectively mummifying any microbes that come into contact with it. These combined factors create a natural preservative so effective that honey can remain edible indefinitely under per storage conditions. This permanence has made honey a symbol of immortality in many cultures, its golden sweetness representing something that transcends the normal cycles of decay and renewal. Wolves howl in harmonies to make their pack sound larger to rival groups. The haunting songs that echo through wilderness areas on quiet nights are not random vocalizations, but carefully orchestrated concerts designed to communicate complex information across vast distances. When wolves howl together, each individual chooses a different pitch, creating harmonies that prevent their voices from masking each other and allow the sound to carry farther through the forest. This harmonic howling serves multiple purposes, helping pack members locate each other across their territory, while simultaneously creating an acoustic illusion that makes the pack sound larger and more formidable to potential rivals. Young wolves learn the art of harmonizing from their elders, gradually developing their own unique voices that contribute to the pack's collective song. The timing and frequency of howling sessions follow social and territorial patterns, with packs more likely to howl during times of high activity or when they detect the presence of neighboring wolves. These wilderness concerts can last for several minutes, with pack members joining and leaving the chorus as the mood strikes them, creating ever-changing musical compositions that serve as both social bonding activities and territorial announcements echoing through the wild places where wolves still roam free. Ancient bristlecone pines grow so slowly they can survive drought by essentially pausing their lives. High on the windswept mountains of California and Nevada grow some of the oldest living things on Earth, bristlecone pines that have endured for over 4,000 years by perfecting the art of patient survival. These ancient trees grow so slowly that a trunk may add less than a millimeter of girth per year, conserving energy and resources with extraordinary efficiency. During severe drought years, bristlecones can essentially stop growing altogether, entering a state of suspended animation where they maintain just enough metabolic activity to stay alive while waiting for better conditions. Their dense, resinous wood resists decay, insects, and fire, allowing dead sections of the tree to persist for centuries, while living strips of bark and cambium continue to function. Some bristlecone pines are 90% dead wood, surviving on just thin strips of living tissue that spiral up the trunk like botanical lifelines. This extreme longevity strategy allows individual trees to outlast entire climate cycles, surviving ice ages of volcanic eruptions and centuries of harsh mountain weather. Standing among these ancient trees feels like entering a natural cathedral where time moves differently, each gnarled trunk representing thousands of years of patient endurance in one of Earth's most challenging environments. Beaver lodges contain multiple rooms with underwater entrances and ventilation systems. The dome-shaped structures that beavers build in ponds and wetlands are far more sophisticated than they appear from the surface, containing carefully engineered living spaces designed for comfort and security. A typical beaver lodge contains at least 2 chambers: a lower wet room where beavers can enter from underwater and dry off, and a higher dry chamber where the family sleeps and cares for their young. The underwater entrances, called plunge holes, remain ice-free even during harsh winters because moving water doesn't freeze as readily as still water. The lodge walls are constructed from carefully interlocked branches, mud, and stones, creating insulation so effective that the interior temperature remains above freezing even when outside temperatures drop well below zero. Ventilation is provided by a carefully positioned opening at the top of the lodge that allows fresh air to circulate while preventing heat loss. Some large beaver lodges contain multiple chambers connected by tunnels, creating complex living spaces that can house extended family groups. The engineering principles beavers employ in lodge construction include load distribution, thermal insulation, and water management techniques that human architects have only recently begun to fully appreciate and incorporate into sustainable building designs. Octopuses have 3 hearts and blue blood to help them survive in deep ocean environments. These remarkable creatures have evolved a cardiovascular system unlike any other, with specialized adaptations that allow them to thrive in the low-oxygen environments of the deep sea. 2 of the octopus's hearts pump blood to the gills, where oxygen is extracted from seawater, while the 3rd heart pumps oxygenated blood to the rest of the body. This triple heart system is necessary because octopus blood uses copper-based hemocyanin instead of iron-based hemoglobin to carry oxygen, making it less efficient at oxygen transport, but more effective in cold, low oxygen conditions. The copper in their blood gives it a distinctive blue color when oxygenated, quite different from the red blood of mammals. Interestingly, the main heart stops beating when an octopus swims, which is why these creatures prefer to crawl along the seafloor rather than swim for extended periods, as swimming exhausts them quickly. This cardiovascular system allows octopuses to survive in deep ocean inches and cold polar waters, where other creatures would struggle to extract enough oxygen from the water to maintain their metabolism. The blue blood and triple heart system represent elegant solutions to the challenges of life in some of Earth's most demanding aquatic environments. Sandhill cranes perform elaborate dances that strengthen pair bonds and community ties. In wetlands and grasslands across North America, these elegant birds engage in one of nature's most joyful displays, dancing with an enthusiasm that seems to express pure celebration of life itself. Sandhill crane dances involve leaping high into the air with wings spread wide, bowing deeply to partners, and picking up sticks or other objects to toss playfully overhead. These dances are not limited to mating season, but occur throughout the year as social activities that strengthen relationships within crane communities. Young cranes learn to dance by watching and imitating their parents, gradually developing their own personal style while mastering the traditional movements passed down through generations. The dances often become contagious, starting with a single pair and spreading through an entire flock until dozens of cranes are leaping and spinning in synchronized celebration. Scientists believe these dances serve multiple functions beyond pair bonding, helping to establish social hierarchies, release tension, and maintain the complex social structures that allow crane communities to coordinate their long-distance migrations. Watching sandhill cranes dance provides a rare glimpse into the joy that exists in the natural world, reminding us that play and celebration are not uniquely human experiences. Monarch butterflies use their wings as solar panels to warm their flight muscles on cool mornings. These delicate migrants have evolved sophisticated thermoregulation strategies that allow them to maintain the body temperature necessary for flight across a wide range of environmental conditions. Monarch wings contain specialized scales that absorb solar radiation efficiently, functioning like biological solar collectors that convert sunlight into heat. On cool mornings, monarchs position themselves with wings spread perpendicular to the sun's rays, using their wing surfaces to warm their thoracic flight muscles to the critical temperature needed for sustained flight. The black borders on monarch wings are particularly effective at absorbing heat, while the orange areas reflect certain wavelengths that might otherwise overheat the butterfly's delicate internal systems. This solar heating system is so efficient that monarchs can often be seen flying actively on cool days when other butterflies remain inactive. During their incredible migration from Canada to Mexico, monarchs use thermal regulation to extend their flying time each day, maximizing the distance they can cover while conserving energy for the long journey ahead. The same wing scales that create their beautiful orange coloration also serve as precision instruments for temperature regulation, demonstrating how form and function combine seamlessly in nature's designs. Desert pupfish survive in water saltier than the ocean by constantly drinking and processing salt. In the harsh salt flats and alkaline pools of the American Southwest, tiny fish have evolved to thrive in water conditions that would quickly kill most other aquatic creatures. Desert pupfish can survive in water with salt concentrations twice as high as seawater, temperatures that reach nearly 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and pH levels so alkaline they approach that of household ammonia. These remarkable fish accomplish this feat through specialized kidneys and gills that constantly process and excrete excess salt, allowing them to drink the very water that would dehydrate other fish. Their cellular chemistry has adapted to function normally, even when their body fluids contain salt concentrations that would disrupt the basic biological processes of most other organisms. During the heat of summer, when their pools shrink and become even more concentrated, poopfish enter a state of reduced activity that conserves energy while their bodies work overtime to maintain salt balance. Some pupfish populations have been isolated in desert springs for thousands of years, evolving into distinct subspecies perfectly adapted to their specific harsh environments. These tiny survivors demonstrate life's incredible ability to find solutions to seemingly impossible challenges, thriving in conditions that exist at the very limits of what science once thought possible for complex life. Firefly light is the most efficient light source known to science, producing almost no waste heat. The gentle glow of fireflies on summer evenings represents one of nature's most perfect technologies, a biological light source that achieves nearly 100% efficiency in converting chemical energy to visible light. Unlike incandescent bulbs, which waste most of their energy as heat, or even LED lights, which still produce some thermal byproducts, firefly bioluminescence generates what scientists call cold light, with virtually no heat production. This remarkable efficiency is achieved through a chemical reaction involving luciferin, luciferase, oxygen, and ATP that takes place in specialized cells called photocytes. The reaction produces light photons directly without the intermediate heat production that characterizes most other light sources. If human technology could match the efficiency of firefly light production, our electric lighting systems would use a fraction of the energy they currently consume. Fireflies control their flash-on patterns by regulating the supply of oxygen to their light-producing cells, allowing them to create the species-specific signals used for finding mates in the darkness. Each flash represents a precisely timed burst of this perfect biological light, a technology that evolution perfected millions of years before humans discovered electricity. Giant sequoias create their own fire-resistant bark that can be over 2 feet thick. In the ancient groves of California's Sierra Nevada mountains, these massive trees have evolved one of nature's most effective fire protection systems, allowing them to survive and even benefit from the forest fires that periodically sweep through their habitat. Sequoia bark consists of fibrous, spongy material with a high water content and very low flammability, creating a natural fireproof jacket that protects the living wood beneath from all but the most intense blazes. The bark structure is filled with air pockets that provide insulation, preventing heat from reaching the tree's vital cambium layer, even when flames surround the trunk. Some giant sequoias have bark over 2 feet thick at the base, enough protection to survive fires that completely consume smaller trees growing nearby. These ancient giants actually depend on periodic fires to clear competing vegetation and create the open conditions their seedlings need to establish themselves. Fire also helps open sequoia cones, releasing seeds onto the mineral-rich ash bed left after a blaze. Sequoias that have survived multiple fires over their lifespans, which can exceed 3,000 years, often bear distinctive fire scars that heal over with new bark growth, creating a living record of the forest's fire history, written in wood and bark. Honey-guide birds lead humans to beehives, using a language developed over thousands of years. In the savannas and woodlands of Africa, an extraordinary partnership exists between wild birds and human honey hunters, a relationship so ancient it has shaped the evolution of both species involved. Greater honey guides have developed a specialized calling behavior that attracts human attention, then leads people through the landscape using a series of distinct flight patterns and vocalizations that communicate direction and distance to bee colonies. Humans respond with traditional calls and sounds that let the birds know they are following, creating a two-way communication system that benefits both partners. Once the humans break open the hive and harvest the honey, honey guides feed on the bee larvae and wax that remain behind, foods that are otherwise difficult for the birds to access. This mutualistic relationship has persisted for so long that honey guides have evolved specific behaviors for communicating with humans that they don't use with any other species. The birds can distinguish between cooperative humans and those who won't follow their guidance, preferring to guide people from cultures that maintain the traditional honey hunting practices. Recent research suggests that humans and honey guides may have been partners for over 100,000 years, making this one of the oldest known examples of interspecies cooperation between wild animals and humans. Polar bears have black skin beneath their white fur to absorb heat from sunlight. These Arctic giants have evolved a sophisticated thermal management system that allows them to maintain their body temperature in some of the coldest environments on Earth. While polar bear fur appears white, providing perfect camouflage against snow and ice, each individual hair is actually transparent and hollow, creating an insulation system that traps warm air close to the bear's body. Beneath this remarkable fur coat lies black skin that efficiently absorbs any solar radiation that penetrates through the hair layer. The hollow structure of polar bear fur also helps conduct ultraviolet light down to the dark skin, where it's converted to heat through absorption. This dual system of insulation and solar heating allows polar bears to maintain their core body temperature, even when ambient temperatures drop far below freezing. The bear's large size also helps with heat retention, as their low surface area to volume ratio minimizes heat loss to the environment. During the brief Arctic summer, polar bears can actually overheat, and they often lie on their backs with their feet in the air or seek out snowbanks to cool down, demonstrating how perfectly their thermal systems are calibrated to their icy environment. Morning glory flowers open with the sunrise and close before afternoon heat becomes intense. These climbing vines have evolved a daily rhythm that perfectly synchronizes their blooming with the activity patterns of their pollinators, while protecting their delicate petals from harsh midday conditions. Morning glory flowers begin opening before dawn, their tightly furled buds untwisting in spiral patterns as the first light touches them. The opening process is driven by changes in water pressure within the flower's cells, a hydraulic system that responds to light and temperature cues. By mid-morning, the flowers are fully open, displaying their vibrant colors to attract bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds during the cooler, more comfortable hours of the day. As temperatures rise and humidity drops in the afternoon, the flowers begin to close again, protecting their reproductive organs from heat stress and conserving moisture. This daily opening and closing cycle continues throughout the flowering season, with each individual bloom lasting just one day before closing permanently and beginning to form seeds. The timing is so precise that morning glory flowers have been used as natural clocks by gardeners. Their predictable schedule marking the passage of hours as reliably as any timepiece, Spiderwebs shimmer with dewdrops that act as tiny magnifying glasses for hunting spiders. In the early morning hours, when dew settles on intricate web structures, each water droplet transforms into a precision optical instrument that enhances the spider's ability to detect the slightest movement of potential prey. These microscopic lenses focus and bend light in ways that make even the tiniest vibrations more visible to the web's creator. The spider positions itself to take advantage of these natural magnifiers, using the enhanced visual information to distinguish between wind-blown debris and struggling insects. As the sun rises and begins to evaporate the dew, the optical enhancement gradually fades. But during those crucial dawn hours, the web becomes a sophisticated detection system augmented by physics. Some spiders have learned to time their most active hunting periods to coincide with these dewdrop-enhanced conditions, positioning themselves optimally to benefit from nature's temporary gift of improved vision. Hummingbird nests are constructed with spider silk that allows them to stretch as baby birds grow. These tiny architectural marvels demonstrate remarkable engineering foresight, built with materials that accommodate the rapid growth of hummingbird chicks from egg to fledgling. Female hummingbirds collect spider silk not just as a binding agent, but as a structural component that provides elasticity to the nest walls. As the baby hummingbirds develop and increase in size, the silk fibers stretch gradually, expanding the nest diameter without compromising its structural integrity. The nests also incorporate soft materials like plant down and moss, held together by the spider silk matrix that acts like biological elastic bands. This expandable design prevents the growing chicks from being crushed or falling out as they outgrow their original space. The silk's natural properties also provide some weather resistance, helping the nest maintain its shape during rain and wind. Construction of these expandable nurseries requires the female hummingbird to make hundreds of trips to collect suitable materials. Each strand of spider silk carefully woven into the structure with precision that ensures the nest will grow along with its occupants. Certain mushrooms glow in the dark to attract insects that spread their spores. Deep in forest understories around the world, bioluminescent fungi create ethereal green glows that serve as beacons for nighttime spore dispersal. These glowing mushrooms produce their light through the same basic chemical processes used by fireflies, but they maintain their luminescence continuously rather than in flashes. The soft green radiance attracts beetles, flies, and other nocturnal insects that are drawn to investigate the mysterious light source. As these insects crawl across the glowing mushroom surfaces, they pick up thousands of microscopic spores on their bodies and legs. When the insects fly away to investigate other lights or food sources, they carry the spores to new locations where they can establish new fungal colonies. The energy cost of producing this biological light is significant for the mushrooms, but the investment pays off through increased reproductive success. Some bioluminescent mushrooms glow more brightly during peak spore release periods, timing their light production to coincide with maximum dispersal opportunities. This glowing strategy works so effectively that bioluminescent mushroom species have spread to forests on every continent except Antarctica. And now, As these gentle facts settle into the quiet spaces of your mind, let your breathing grow deeper and your thoughts soften like morning mist dissolving in sunlight. We've wandered together through nature's most soothing secrets, from the patient conversations of ancient trees to the delicate choreography of sleeping flowers. Each discovery reminds us that the natural world moves to rhythms far older and more peaceful than our hurried lives, offering comfort in its endless cycles of growth, rest, and renewal. Whether you remember the synchronized flashing of fireflies or the quiet persistence of lichen growing grain by grain, these gentle truths will remain with you, whispering their calm wisdom whenever you need to find peace. Sleep well, knowing that nature continues its patient work all around us, and that you are part of this beautiful, interconnected world that breathes and dreams alongside you. Good night.